Today, we're back in the world of church culture. And today we're talking about discipleship of the church culture. Let's talk about that. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk About That. The world's greatest podcast. I've expanded.
Best.
I'm totally being a little boastful there. But today I am proud each and every one of you are listening to this and sharing it with somebody. And today we're going to dive head first into the topic of church culture discipleship.
Man, you got a good one.
Well, the only good one I got here today is you, so
Come
we'll
on,
see.
somebody.
We'll see. Ain't that right, audience? Love my audience button.
Got to pop in the applause around here, I'm telling you.
Yeah, see, we still got to get one of these buttons for the pulpit.
Oh, my goodness.
Specifically for the 22nd of March. Or was it November?
That's great.
No. I did
It was
go.
March.
I did go dig through.
Oh, I know you did.
And I told Jessica
you
about
did.
it. She's like, "Why are you laughing?" And I was like, hysterically
No,
laughing.
I looked when you sent it to me. I was like, that joker. He thinks it's joke time on the podcast.
Yeah,
It's not.
I was like, I feel so bad. I was like, but I couldn't resist. Oh, that's just because I'm just one big joke.
You know, if you don't share what God gives you, He won't give you anything else.
This is true. Oh, but God is good.
All the time.
And so is Pastor Whitley.
Huh. You must have got me confused with somebody else.
Oh, that's right. It's your joke today, not mine.
That's my bad. I've got the jokes today. Do you know why?
Just right into it.
Do you know why the flower couldn't ride its bike?
Why?
Because it lost its pedals.
No. That was great.
I used to be so afraid of speed bumps, but I finally got over it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If you're ever cold in your house, just stand in the corner because it's at least close to 90 degrees.
Yeah. That's great.
I was looking for a new suit recently, and I went into a suit store, and the owner kept hovering over me while I was looking for a suit. So I kindly turned around and said, "Would you please leave me alone?" He said, "Fine, suit yourself."
Yes.
Suit, get it.
At a time, both of those really close. That was great. You got more?
Suit yourself. No, I don't. I mean, I do, but no.
That's all we'll give somebody for today. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk About That.
Figure that's all like we can handle.
The greatest podcast you're listening to at this moment. That's what I should start saying.
At this moment.
At this moment, yeah. Oh, gosh. All right. Well, yes, we will dig right into this wonderful topic. And I'm excited about it.
Me too. It's really good. But I wasn't joking. I was hoping you were, bringing in somebody that had, really accomplished some of these things.
But see, I did. I brought in the expert.
No, I think we're on the right track. I'm far from an expert, though. I mean, I am a continual student.
Touche. That is fair. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and dig into this. So church culture, and today we are talking about discipleship in our church culture. There's a lot of different ways you can spin this, but there's also a lot of ways that people have spun this.
Mm-hmm.
Discipleship has went in so many directions, especially the last, 10 years or so, something like that. Maybe it's because of social media. Maybe it's because, the internet's popular and all that, but there's so many ways to do discipleship today. And we're going to look at a few of these. Maybe there's some misconceptions about it. Maybe some people overcomplicate it. Maybe there's some outdated forms of discipleship that, it was just something that brought up through tradition, and, we'll look at some of these. But first, let's start off with the first thing, because to know what something is, you got to look at it, you got to dissect it, and you got to define it. So let's ask this first question. What is discipleship? Let's define this.
I think to define discipleship, we have to get on the ship.
Boom.
So,
yes, 100%.
To get on that ship, we have to be a disciple.
Yes.
But a disciple is a dedicated follower. Can be a student that learns from a teacher.
Yeah.
We might call him a master. He is our master. And this student, this pupil, or this dedicated follower, they stick to the teaching, to the doctrine of their teacher.
Yeah.
They spread the doctrines, the ideas, and the beliefs of their teacher, their master, to other people. They learn and they follow. That's what a disciple learns and follows. They practice their master's teaching, but they also emulate the master.
True.
Jesus had this model that what you see me do, that's what you need to do. He even said, if I preach truth, if I say all the right things, but I don't do the works of the Father that sent me, he said, don't believe me.
Yeah.
He said, more than my words, his words were great. His words were truth. His words were right. But he said, don't just listen to my words, but he said, watch my actions. Don't just listen to what I say, but watch how I live. And he was dedicated. And disciples follow the practice, or they follow the doctrine of their master. They follow their master's teaching, but they emulate their master. We are, as disciples, we are to emulate Christ. When people look at us, they should see him.
Yes.
We should be
100%.
We should be so transparent that they can see right through us to him. It's not about us being lifted up, but it's about him being lifted up. So if that's the case, then discipleship is the lifelong process of following, learning from, and becoming more like Christ. And it is a lifelong process. There's never a place where we stop growing. There's never a place where we stop learning. We can always, no matter how much we are like Jesus today, there's always something that we can improve upon tomorrow. And so until he comes, until he returns, we are constantly in that lifelong process of learning to be like Christ. He was the obedient son. In his flesh, he had to be obedient.
Yeah.
He had to surrender to the will of the Father. In the garden, that was exactly what he did. He had to wrestle with his flesh. I don't want to drink from this cup. Well, nobody wants to drink from that cup called death, especially crucifixion there. He knows what's coming. He doesn't want to drink from it. But as a dedicated follower, he's dedicated to the will of God. And he says, I don't want to do this, but I know it is your will. And if it is your will, then I'll gladly drink from this cup, no matter where it leads me. I'm following after God. So as our example, we too have to deal with our flesh. Jesus said, come follow me to many people. Okay, let's think about that following Jesus thing for just a minute. I'll follow you wherever you go. Okay, we're going to feed 5,000 with some fish and some loaves of bread. Oh yeah, let's do that.
Oh yeah.
Let's turn water to wine. I'll follow you anywhere you want to go. Oh, there's blinded eyes that are going to be open. Yeah, let's go do it. I'll follow you there. Virtue's going to instantly flow out of your body. Yeah, I'll follow you there.
Oh,
I'll go there.
Man, that's so good.
Yeah, let's fast forward. Are you willing to go with him to the cross?
Yeah.
Because that's what he asked. He says, come follow me. That's what he's saying. That's what is required of a disciple, to come and lay down their life.
Oh.
He says, you can't follow me unless you can lay down your life and take up your cross. He says, any that would come after me need to take up their cross. Nobody takes up a cross unless there is death in their future.
Yeah.
And Jesus calls us to come and die.
Oh, man. That's so good.
So discipleship is that lifelong process of following and becoming more like Jesus Christ.
That is incredible. And that may carry over here into this next question about the misconceptions, but the misconception that goes along with, oh, I reached this point and I'm done.
Yeah.
But no, it's never like that. You should always be growing and changing and becoming better. But to our second question here, what are some misconceptions about discipleship?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions overall, and again, on none of these things am I an expert. I am learning, and all of these things are things that I have learned in the last 10 years of pastoring.
Right.
These are just things that I have seen, and I will say it from this side: we are nowhere near where we need to be, but we're on the right track, I feel like. But we've come a long ways in the last decade or whatever. It's hard to create that culture of discipleship because we don't talk a lot about discipleship. We talk a lot about disciples.
Right.
We talk a lot about Jesus, his 12 disciples, but we don't talk a lot about discipleship, and we don't talk a lot about us becoming disciples. And maybe when people get this idea of discipleship or they hear disciple, the only thing they see is discipline.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. I mean, if you're going to be a disciple, you have to be disciplined.
That's fair.
But there is this, I don't know about you, but when I hear disciple, I do almost get this image in my head of a radical individual.
Yeah.
They are radical because they're willing to lay down their life for their belief. I don't want to lean too hard into the zealot thing. That's not what I'm saying,
No, it's good. My mind goes back because I grew up on a lot of these old kung fu movies.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. The kind that, their mouth would still be moving, but the word stopped, 10 seconds ago. But you look at the disciples of the kung fu masters and they're doing all these insane things, and you're like, wow, these are like the ultimate disciples. Or even if we look at it from a Christian perspective, we look at the 12 disciples and we're like, they were disciples. Like, I could never be a disciple. They did all these incredible things. And how am I going to be a disciple that could follow in their footsteps?
Sure.
And it's intimidating. It truly is.
So some of those misconceptions, I think that one of the big ones is thinking that you have to be, before you can not only be a disciple or make disciples, somehow we get in our head that we have to be Jesus.
Right.
I can't make disciples or be a disciple unless I'm like Jesus.
Come on,
or
man.
one of his 12 disciples. Never mind the other thousands of disciples that he had,
right,
that we'll talk about shortly. I can never, there's that temptation to say, I can never be one of them.
Right. So why even try?
To lead somebody, you don't have to be light years ahead of them. You only have to be one step.
Exactly.
And
oh my gosh.
I think the Bible even talks about two people walking together. So I think that we can be on this discipleship journey together. We are, obviously, I'm not talking about accountability and spiritual covering at the moment. I'm not talking about submission. But there has to be, those lifelong friendships that we make with people, that we are on this discipleship journey together. We're both walking the same path. We're both going the same direction. How can you take advice from somebody that's not going the same direction you're going? Exactly. They can't speak to your... Now, they could be at a different place on the road and still speak into your life, but how can you take advice from somebody that's going the total opposite direction? They can't tell you how to get to your destination because they're not trying to go to the same destination you are.
Man, that's deep.
I think that's why the psalmist said, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. There's some ways we should not walk in. So I think the second misconception is that we somehow get in our head that only a few people can be disciples or make disciples.
Right.
We get this idea that it's takes
for the elite.
Yeah, an extraordinary individual.
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of John MacArthur stuff, but he wrote 12 Ordinary Men, and he points out some pretty good points about each of the disciples. And they were absolutely they were ordinary men.
Yeah.
Fishermen, tax collectors.
Yes.
Just They were just average Joes.
They're not even the people that, if we were to think about it today, the disciples were the ordinary rejects, if I could say it that way.
Yeah.
Because they were not chosen to be part of the temple.
Yeah, they followed no rabbi.
Like they didn't measure up, okay? Like they didn't make the straight A students, okay? Like they wasn't the exceptional people that excelled at everything. Like
at 12 years old, not one of them heard a rabbi say, "Come and follow me."
Exactly.
Come walk in my footsteps. Come take my place.
Exactly.
Let me train you and teach you. None of them, because they all fell short somewhere. But Jesus walks by and says, "Come follow me." That's why they laid down fishing nets. That's why they walked away from family careers. They walked away from family businesses. They walked away from tax tables.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jesus, here's the rabbi, the master, the teacher. He walks by and says, "Come follow me." And they say, "We'll follow you wherever you go." Now, did they have hesitations? Absolutely. John was the only one there at the crucifixion. Peter, before the crucifixion, would warm his backside in the court of the high priest by a fire of coals.
Yeah.
And swear with an oath that he didn't know who Jesus was.
Oh, man.
Yet he's the one that would stick the key in the door of salvation at Pentecost and open the door for the whole world to receive the Holy Ghost.
And I know this isn't on this topic, but I feel like that could have been one of the reasons why he was in that position. Because he understood and realized, I really messed up.
Sure.
And I've got to 100% give my all to Christ to make up for this.
Yeah.
Versus a lot of other people would have said, I messed up, but I'm just not really going to try again.
Right.
But there's so many misconceptions that go along with discipleship.
Absolutely. So that misconception that only a few can be disciples, Jesus had many disciples.
Yes.
But only 12 original apostles.
Right.
12 original disciples. Let's look at the third misconception is that it's everybody else's responsibility to make disciples, but not mine.
Wow.
That's good. We expect it to be done, but we don't want anybody to expect it of us.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we got this project and we need some people to give sacrificially. Yes, we do. Absolutely. I'm just not going to be one of them.
That's good.
Excuse the reference, but I think the song said, "I would do anything for love, but I won't do that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a contradiction there, But seriously, how many times do we sit back and there's people needed to fulfill a certain, we have a ministry interest form on our church app, ministry interest, where you can sign up for what ministry you're interested in and what department you'd like to serve in. Well, then every once in a while, we'll have a cleaning day at the church or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll put the thing out there for people to sign up, what area you are able to work in. Then we have some people, we'll call no names, who just sign up for every single thing on the list.
Why do you got to call me out like that?
It was you. They sign up for everything because they don't look at it as, okay, it needs to be done, but it's not somebody else's responsibility. It's my responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very valid point. There's so many people, not just in the church and a lot of other things but we'll just stick with the church for now, that they want to come to a clean church.
Yeah.
But they don't want to be part of the people who get it clean, who keep it clean.
So I don't do this often, but if it comes up several times in a week, we will have a little lesson, that the handle on the vacuum cleaner fits everybody's hand.
Yes. Wait, that deserves applause.
The handle on the mop, the handle on the toilet bowl cleaner. It fits. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
I'm kidding.
I'll do anything for God, but I won't do that.
Oh.
Okay, what about number 4, rather? Another misconception is that, okay, it's only the pastor's job to make disciples.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Which is weird because Jesus told his disciples to go make disciples.
Yeah.
Jesus didn't say, I'm the only one. Okay, guys, I'm the only one that can make disciples. put me up on a pedestal and worship me as God. Oh, wait, he was God. Let's back up.
Yeah.
No, it was his expectation that every disciple he made would also in turn go and make more disciples.
Right.
And that's what makes the church growth thing so effective and so impactful. It makes a big impact. We talked about that last week. The fifth thing, probably to me, is the biggest one, other than the first one. But the last one that I'll mention is the biggest misconception, I think, is that people think discipleship is cheap and easy.
That's
when
good.
in reality, discipleship is very expensive and it's extremely difficult.
One of the most costly things we can do.
That's right. Jesus said, if you want to be a disciple, come and die.
Yeah.
Come and lay down your life.
Oh, man.
You cannot expect to hold on to your life if you're carrying a cross.
Yeah.
You know good and well
Oh, man, that's so
that
good.
death is in your future if you're carrying a cross. Because crosses are only created for one thing, and that's to kill flesh.
Absolutely. Oh, man, that's so good. All right.
That's the last misconception.
Go ahead and list them off in order now, because I know you was counting there.
Well, that's only
I didn't take notes.
There's only one problem.
You didn't take notes either?
No. I have some notes written down, but okay, let's see. The first one was the misconception that you have to be a million miles ahead of somebody to lead them.
Yes.
Okay, these I should have. The second one was that only a few people can be disciples,
Right.
or make disciples. The next one was that it's everybody else's responsibility to make disciples, but not mine.
Right.
Next was that it's only the pastor's job
That's right.
to make disciples, because shepherds,
Obviously.
yeah. Anyways, the next one was, or the last one that I mentioned was that discipleship is cheap and easy.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good. So make sure y'all put those in order. That way you know them. All right. To our next question. Is it possible to overcomplicate discipleship?
Absolutely. And I think that's what we do. We get nervous about this. I don't know if I can make disciples. I don't know if I can do it. That's a big word.
6A, this one really kind of follows up with the same part of the misconceptions where you were saying that it's only the part of the pastor, it's only the part of the elite to do the job and to make the disciples. And we're like, it's just too far above me. I could never do it.
It seems like everything gets hard when we put ship on the end of it, like friendship, fellowship, discipleship.
Oh,
There's ships that we ride in. So you'll never ride in the discipleship until you ride in the friendship.
that's right.
The friendship is connected to the discipleship, and they're like a great big party on the water. You don't need to read 10,000 books on discipleship to be a disciple.
Exactly.
Or to be a disciple maker.
No.
It's really not complicated. Make friends and then make disciples.
Yeah.
When you make friends with somebody and they trust you, when they know that they can confide in you and they know your relationship with God, they see that relationship in you or that you have with God, it's going to be really easy for you to start speaking into their life. And then at that point, it's going to be really easy for you to start investing Jesus into them. And once you lead them to that point where they have that conversion experience, I think we start making disciples long before we receive the Holy Ghost.
Absolutely.
Didn't Jesus?
Yeah.
Long before the disciples received the Holy Ghost, Jesus was already making disciples out of them.
Yeah. 100%.
Now I realize that he was there with them, but you don't need to keep. I've heard people say, "Well, I need another book on discipleship. How about the Bible? I got a book. I got a text for you. God wants to send you a text. It's called the Book of Acts. Now there are great helps out there, and I advise reading every single one of them. Sister Leanne Alexander has a great book on small groups. Fabulous. But don't think that you're going to start out being an expert.
Right.
You're just going to be so. You're just going to be so. I really think that Jesus learned from John the Baptist. John the Baptist was 6 months older than Jesus. His ministry was already started. He had disciples before Jesus had disciples. I think that Jesus looked at him and took his example and said, I'm going to have disciples because John had disciples.
Right.
I think that Jesus saw that example in him. Don't try to figure it out before you start. I'm sorry, let me back up. Don't try to figure it all out before you start.
Yeah.
Make friends and then make disciples. We've already talked about what a disciple is. It's somebody that has chosen to follow Jesus with everything that they are. He is the master of the Lord of their life. So that's my short answer is absolutely it's possible to overcomplicate discipleship.
And I'll even toss in something that I learned back in tech school. My instructor always said, he's like, don't overcomplicate things. Don't overcomplicate things. Just remember KISS. I was like, what?
I ain't kissing nobody.
Keep it simple, and we'll keep it PG for the podcast. Silly. Keep it simple, silly.
That's it.
And I'm like, that's such a great point. All right. To our next question. What are there any outdated forms of discipleship, or even maybe some modern ones that just really don't work like they should? Or I guess like people thought they would.
So I think that there are some forms of discipleship, and maybe I'm leaning too far into the outreach or the reaching side of discipleship.
That's fair too, though.
But the only one I can really think of that I would say is outdated is not really outdated as in it can't work. It just I'll just say this: it's cold calls. You get the phone book, and you just go down through there and you're calling people. Now, here's the reason why I'm saying that doesn't work. There's too many telemarketers we have to compete with.
This is a very valid point.
When people see a number that they don't recognize, it's getting harder and harder to reach people.
I don't answer.
That's right. We even have blocks on our phone now that will block suspected spam, the telemarketers. That's not to say that these cold calls don't work to some degree. Let me just say it like this. If I had a friend and you ask me, can you give me so-and-so's phone number? My immediate response is no. Because you don't know them and they don't know you.
Exactly.
You just know of them. So for you to randomly call them it's weird. You know what I'm saying?
It truly is.
But if you will connect with them, then that natural progression is, let's exchange phone numbers in case we want to hang out and play ping pong sometime.
Now, that makes more sense.
Or whatever
that makes
you do.
More sense.
I mean, that's just what we do.
That's just what we do.
And by we, I mean me. You know what I'm saying though? It's just kind of it's kind of strange when somebody calls you out of the blue and you're like, I've seen you one time from across the room, and I don't even know who you are. Yes. But okay, this is strange. No, I don't want to go get coffee with you.
Or like you said, even worse, like gather a number from somebody else. Like
you
didn't even
that's
directly
exactly right.
get it.
That's right.
Anytime anybody asks me for something, like I'm like, let me make sure first.
That's right.
That they even want your number. Then we'll talk. Or I'll give you their number and then let that connection start that way. But anyways.
Now I know that some look at it and say that some of these, like these two that I'm about to mention, are outdated. But I think messaging or sending a letter, I think that still works, personally.
Like a card?
Absolutely.
Cards and letters?
We have a couple in the church that the only reason that they are here is because they got a piece of mail that had the sanctuary on it.
What?
Now, here's the funny thing.
That's impressive.
It was not even supposed to go to their house.
Oh, my gosh. A God moment.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So it still works. Now, what's funny is, I thought when we put the sign out by the road that it would be like these are the service times. Never heard one person comment on it. Never. Not one person in however many years it's been up have they commented on it.
Oh, wow.
When you put those flags up and down the driveway, yeah. I've heard countless. I go in the barbershop and they're like, oh, yeah, I saw you got your flags out there and got some service times on your flags. And I'm like, the sign's been out there with the service times on it for like 80,000 years. Yeah, we never seen that. No, but let them flags waving. You never know. The other one is door knocking. Some people say door knocking is dead. Well, Jehovah's Witness has really cutting into our action on the door knocking, but
it still works.
It does, especially if I think especially if I'll speak as a pastor, spending time prayer walking through a neighborhood, especially a community of older people, they constantly see you and they know who you are. They know what you're doing. So you have an opportunity to talk to them. My goal is when they think of a church, I don't want them to think of any other church but the sanctuary.
Yeah.
I don't want them to think of any other church except the church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with both statements.
Not trying to. I'm not saying the people in the next town over. I don't want them going to the church, to the Pentecostal church in their town. I'm saying I want them to think of the true church, and they want to go to that church. The people in our community, I want them when they are hurting, I want them to instantly think there's a church up the road, and they accept hurting people.
Or they help hurting people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a huge impact. And you probably got a few more, but I even want to throw out one that's the theory, and maybe this goes kind of back to the misconceptions portion of it, but the method of you could only disciple people inside the church.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Like, oh, you must come to our Bible studies weekly, and that's the only place that you can get true discipleship.
Oh, you should see the blank stares I get when I say, stop inviting people to church and start inviting people into your life.
Yes. Oh, it's so good.
Nobody ever claps when I say that. They just look at me.
That's why
I
got to get that button for the podium.
What does that mean? It means don't expect somebody else to do the discipleship. Don't expect somebody else to be the disciple maker. Anyways. Use any medium available. That's really the key. Find out what's most effective
and what works, and that's gonna highly vary sometimes depending on your area or even your country. Because you live in a more rural area or rural country, something like I don't know, coffee night at the church maybe not be as popular as some things would be. But you never know.
Yeah, have a plant exchange.
Hey,
heard of a guy doing that?
I'll jump in on that.
Yeah.
Bring me a tomato plant and I'll bring you a cucumber plant. Anyways. Is that it for this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can jump to our next one. What would you say are some key methods, even just in your own personal experience, and elements are great for discipleship today?
Yeah.
And I want to use that for today because, again, what was great 100 years ago may not be what's great today necessarily.
So my top key method is making friends.
Yeah.
Let me say this about social media, because some people think that that's a great form of discipleship. Well, here's the problem. I think you can give people Bible studies online, but discipleship requires you to be hands-on.
I agree with that.
He said, lay hands suddenly on no man. That was in preparation for the ministry. You can't lay hands on somebody through social media. And that was a significant moment. However, I think social media is a great place to meet contacts. It's a great place to say, oh, think about all these people I was friends with in high school. Think about all these people I went to school with. I've known my whole life, and I have a great pool of resources, a great pool of contacts to contact them and say, hey, you want to get together? And okay, maybe you don't win them all. Maybe they're not all going to be converted, but what if one is?
Right.
I think it's a great way to contact people, reach through social media, make connections. You can't make disciples without making connections. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm not saying that it doesn't and can't be a great form of outreach, but I don't think that we can make disciples through social media. I don't think we can make disciples across digital platforms. Now, I know that there's probably somebody that'll hear that and say, well, what if there's somebody in a remote part of Iran that is on social media? okay, I think you can lead them to Jesus. I think it'll be difficult, but I think that if you're going to be that true disciple, you're going to have to get hands-on with them, and you're going to have to be like Jesus.
Like, I still even agree with that, even if you're still countries apart, getting hands-on in the sense that, your direct messaging and stuff, where you can literally be back and forth about it.
Yeah.
Because we're people. Go get a table or a desk or something from IKEA or Walmart, whatever. Go to put the instructions together. Just look at it just once, and then tell me, can you wholeheartedly build that with confidence at that point?
Yes.
Some men, yes, but
so
you got to backtrack. You got to look at it. You got to work with some people sometimes.
Sure. I don't have this fear in my life, but I have this. There is an awareness in my life that we can become so production minded.
Yeah.
That we sacrifice power for production.
Yeah, I could see that.
So we can push social media all day long, but I will tell you what is more powerful than social media, and that is a personal testimony coming from the mouth of an individual that was healed or delivered, or let the crack addict walk into the church and then go back out into the world that they'd come out of, and let everybody that they used to sell crack to and smoke crack with, let them see that this individual has changed.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, okay,
I need to talk to them.
This person's got a hold of something that I've never gotten a hold of before. I'm interested.
What you got?
Let one person get up out of a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Do you think any social media post is going to do as much advertising for our God as that individual getting up out of the wheelchair?
Right.
I don't care how many times it's liked or shared or loved or hearted or thumbs up or thumbs down. No, that testimony is going to be so much more powerful.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we should not be excellent in everything that we do, but we cannot be so production minded that we sacrifice power for production.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Disciple making is still the method of Jesus.
Amen. And
I rest my case.
Yeah, I was going to say I 100% agree with that being one of the key methods that I have found personally, and you've taught it and preached it forever, that go make friends, go make friends, go make friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make a friend, make a disciple. And it's so much easier, so much more relatable when you have that relationship and that connection with somebody.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it can develop in a lot of different ways, but still, you can make an impact on somebody's life just by being a friend, just by smiling, or just being someone that they could talk to about their problems.
Yeah.
And then, slowly you can work in, let me pray for you. Let me do this for you. Let me help you. And then they're like,
sure.
Yeah, do that because I need help.
Yeah.
Anyways, any other key methods you'd like to leave us with?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, is there any books, materials, anything you'd like to recommend for us today?
I've quoted it a lot already tonight, but I think one of the best books on discipleship is The Cost of Discipleship by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And this is the most famous line in the book is this: when Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die.
Wow.
That's what he asked him to do. He asked the individual to come and die.
That's neat. That's so good. All right. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today, for being part of our podcast family. Thank you, Pastor, for joining us today and
thank you
helping us with discipleship and church culture today. So everybody out there listening to this, go share it, go share the gospel, and go preach the gospel, go make disciples anywhere and everywhere you can. God bless you.